Week 2 NFL recap. Let's get right into it. Minnesota Vikings versus Philadelphia Eagles. First of all, fuck the greedy bastards who put this on Prime only. I'm not buying Amazon Prime, okay? I'm not buying Amazon Prime to watch a football game. I'm already spending like 70 plus bucks a month for YouTube TV. I already ended up spending like 250, 300 bucks for the Sunday ticket. I'm not spending any more money, okay? So if you want me to watch the games, I'm not buying Peacock, I'm not buying Prime, I'm not doing any of that. But let's talk about the actual game. Eagles looked like they were going to blow this thing wide open and blow them out. Vikings kept it close. And the most Kirk Cousins thing ever happened. He basically had a perfect game, but still ended up losing in prime time. Final score, 34-28. Baltimore Ravens versus Cincinnati Bengals. Are we sounding the alarms? Are we sounding the alarms for Cincinnati? They have lost 2 divisional matchups to start their season, and this AFC North is not a cakewalk division. This is a tightly contested division. I think 3 of the teams are good. I think 3 of the teams are in playoff contention. The Steelers, they're well coached, so you never know. Are we sounding the alarms for the Cincinnati Bengals? They kept it close yesterday. They ended up making the Ravens gasp a little bit towards the end. But at the end of the day, Lamar looked good. He had a bounce-back game because he didn't look too good last week. The Ravens, they're just a great regular season team. The Ravens, they're going to win themselves, 12, 13 games this year. You could go ahead and book it. Like I said, I have the Ravens winning their division. And if Lamar stays healthy, I'm going to be right. So, final score on that game was 27-24. Seattle Seahawks versus Detroit Lions. This game was very fun to watch. Both offenses were firing on all cylinders. It actually went into overtime. Very, very exciting game to watch. Geno Smith having a bounce-back game. He had a pretty good game. Jared Goff also had a really good game. You had, playmakers on both sides, doing their thing. You have Amon St. Brown, one of the more underrated receivers, having himself a game. DK Metcalf had himself a decent game. Kenneth Walker got into the end zone a couple times. And then, Seattle ended up taking it in overtime. They had the Lions favored in this game. I banged Seattle all day because I knew they were going to have a bounce-back game. I knew Detroit, they were going to leave this one close. And Seattle ends up squeaking out 37-31. Indianapolis Colts versus Houston Texans. 2 bad teams with rookie quarterbacks dueling it out. Anthony Richardson came out with 2 rushing touchdowns and then gets injured because he doesn't know how to protect himself yet. Uncle Rico comes in. He just steers the ship into victory. The Texans, they're just a bad team. The Colts, they're equally a bad team. Whenever you have 2 rookie quarterbacks dueling it out, typically the dual threat quarterback can make a little bit more plays. That's just, what I've seen. Both teams, they'll be lucky to win 5-6 games this year, so not looking too deep into it. But the Colts end up taking this one 31-20. Chicago Bears versus Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Bears fans, are you ready? Or do you need another week? Or do you need another season to admit that Justin Fields sucks? He is a bust. Ohio State quarterbacks, there's some curse behind them to where they're going to suck when they get to the NFL or be mid at best. But yes, what a brain dead player. He takes sacks when he doesn't need to take sacks. He holds the ball too long. He throws brain dead interceptions. I mean, we're talking about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers being 2-0 right now. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are 2-0. Shout out Baker Mayfield. Shout out Mike Evans. But man, Justin Fields, like that pick 6 he threw on his own goal line, the most brain dead play I've seen. So Tampa Bay, They take this dub 27-17. Jacksonville Jaguars versus Kansas City Chiefs. A rematch of last year's divisional round playoffs where the Chiefs were able to get the better of the Jaguars. The Chiefs get the better of the Jaguars again today. They end up winning 17-9. The big story of this game is the Jaguars' failure to get anything going in the red zone, failure to get 7 instead of 3. When you're playing a team like Kansas City, offense with Pat Mahomes running it, you have to get 7 points instead of 3. The red zone is the gold zone. And the Chiefs, they were held to only 17 points. They didn't even crack 20. Still some issues with this offense. No true number one wide receiver, besides Travis Kelce, of course. Like I said, do the Chiefs, is it good for them to maybe go out and trade for a receiver right now? Who knows, but like I said, the Chiefs win this 17-9. Green Bay Packers versus Atlanta Falcons. So the battle of two young quarterbacks going at it. Last week, both these teams got good wins, albeit against pretty shitty teams they got the wins against. Both the teams they got the wins against are going to probably have top 5 draft picks. The teams I'm talking about are the Chicago Bears and the Carolina Panthers. Green Bay got up on them early, a couple scores actually. It was looking like Green Bay was going to easily take this one home, but the inexperience, the young quarterback, they kind of blew it down the stretch. Atlanta, shout out to them for coming back, down 2 scores in the fourth quarter, coming back to take this win. Green Bay, they had that whole situation where they tried to get the Falcons to jump, and they ended up jumping, which forced them to punt the ball away and allowed Atlanta to go on a game-winning drive. Atlanta takes this one home, 25-24. Las Vegas Raiders versus Buffalo Bills. The Buffalo Bills, they get their good old-fashioned get-back game after losing last week against Zach Wilson and the New York Jets. They come out and get a good old-fashioned blowout, just running the Raiders out of their stadium. It was never even close. From the very beginning, it wasn't close. Much needed for Josh Allen to get some of his confidence back, because last week he just had an absolute miserable game. He was seeing ghosts out there. So it's good to have the Bills get their win. They're back up on top, it feels like. Week 1 might have been an anomaly. So yeah, we'll see what they do. The Bills end up winning this game 38-10. LA Chargers versus Tennessee Titans. Tennessee, they found a way to keep it close. They kept it close all game. This game went into overtime, the second game of the day that went into overtime. And the LA Chargers, like always, they found a way to lose. All that talent that they have on their roster, all the hype that they get every year because of Justin Herbert, when are we going to start holding them accountable for these losses? They have been grossly underperforming the past couple years. It's sad to watch. The Chargers, they must be cursed. The Titans, they hung in there. Last week, they couldn't score a point, it felt like. But this week, they, moved the ball up and down the field with the Chargers. They had some big plays down the field. So all respect goes to Tennessee. They win this game 27-24. San Francisco 49ers versus LA Rams. This game needs to be investigated. Well, who's getting investigated? The league was the one who did this. The mob called in. They called into the NFL and they said the Rams need to fucking cover. So that's what happened. The spread was San Fran minus 7.5. The whole game, well, I would say the whole second half, the first half it was close. The Rams the 49ers kind of looked like they were in some trouble. But I knew that they weren't in any trouble at all. Gets into the second half, it gets to a 2-score game. I'm like, okay, perfect. Just stay at a 2-score game and I'm good. I smack on this minus 7.5. They're up 10 then the Rams are in hurry up offense, you're not going to win the game. That drive had no effect on your season. What are we doing here? Like, seriously, what are we doing here? Just kneel the ball down, cool, sake a game, go about your business. When has it became normal to do a hurry up and kick a field goal as time is expiring for you to lose by 1 score instead of 2 scores? Make it make sense. So the NFL, they need to investigate this. They want to suspend players for gambling and betting on games, but they end up having stuff like this happen. So for this one, the final score ended up being 30-23. New York Little Giants versus Arizona Cardinals. Man. The New York Little Giants started their season minus 60 points. The first 6 quarters of their season, they were down 60-0. But luckily, they're playing against the Arizona Cardinals, and Arizona at halftime, they're like, holy shit, guys, what are we doing? We need to lose the game. We're trying to get Caleb Williams. We don't want to win. So, they let the Giants come back and win. The Giants, they have some, momentum going into week 3. I love this Giants team. I love watching them. They fucking suck. I love me some Daniel Jones. I hope he's the Giants quarterback for the next 10 years, because with him at quarterback, I am not worried. But yeah, Cardinals, they did good going up big in the first half, give their fans something to cheer about. And then in the second half, they went ahead and handled business and secured the loss so they could get one step closer to Caleb Williams. Final score, 31-28. New York Jets versus America's team. Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained? The Cowboys over the past 2 weeks have outscored their opponents 70-10. Now, I know week 1 we played the trash-ass Giants, but in week 2 we played arguably a top 5 team, a top 5 defense, I should say, in the NFL. Yes, I know they had Zach Wilson as their quarterback, but we scored 30 points against a top 5 defense in the NFL. Our defense is the number 1 defense in the NFL. Our defense is full of ball hawks and dogs rushing the passer. Watching Micah Parsons rush the passer, it gets me bricked up. It gets my cock hard. I'm sorry if you're, below the age watching this video, but I'm just saying, it is hot watching this defense play. This defense is a whole bunch of dogs and a whole bunch of ball hawks. I don't see anybody in the NFC messing with the Cowboys besides the 49ers and the Eagles, and we got something for those bums this year. I am sorry, but this team is hoisting up its 6th Lombardi trophy. Come February, we're going to be your new NFL champions. I am sorry, that is just what it's going to be. All the Cowboys haters, y'all going to be rolling over in your grave, because all the arrogant, delusional Cowboys fans, we're coming out. We're going to be at that parade, and we're going to be going nuts. The city, we're rioting. I don't care. We are your new NFL Super Bowl champions. Fuck the Eagles. Fuck anybody who's going to get in our way. Micah Parsons, he's Defensive Player of the Year. He might be MVP, but how can you not be excited if you're a Cowboys fan? Let's fucking go. Cowboys win this game 30-10. Washington Commies versus Denver Broncos. And the game of the week between these two mid teams with above average defenses, they ended up having the game of the week. I thought this game was going to be a snooze fest because, like I said, they're two mid teams in my opinion with above average defenses, but both quarterbacks came out dealing. They were moving the ball. I mean, what can I say? Russell Wilson looked good. He had some deep bombs. He had that deep bomb to Marvin Mims, product of Lone Star High School in Frisco, product of OU. And then the Commies came storming back. I think the Commies were down like 3 scores or something like that, or it might be tripping. But the Commies came storming back, took a 2-score lead in the fourth quarter, late in the fourth. I thought the game was over with, but here comes the Broncos. They come back, and I thought, no way they get a Hail Mary or anything. They get a Hail Mary. They convert on a Hail Mary, but in Broncos fashion, they don't get the two-pointer to tie the game. So the final score of this one ended up being the Washington Commies 35, Denver Broncos 33. Miami Dolphins versus New England Patriots. Well, the fastest team in the league faces off against the most mid team in the league. And whenever I say mid, guys, just so you know, that's not that big of an insult. Whenever I mean mid, I mean, you're around mid-tier, around the 15th range to like the 20 to 25th range. You're not bottom 5 by any stretch of the imagination. I mean, there's 32 teams in the league. So if I put you at 15, I mean, you're average, you're mid, right? So don't get all butthurt. Now, if I say you're ass, if your team is ass, your team is fucking ass, okay? If I say your quarterback's ass, he's ass. I mean bottom 5 when I say that, okay? So, this Miami Dolphins team, they're very exciting to watch just because they're so fast. Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, Raheem Mostert, it seems like they all got loose a little bit. Raheem Mostert definitely got loose. He went for over 100 yards rushing. He had that long run. And I like Miami's offense because they do that whole thing with the motions, get their guys a running start basically. It's pretty cool to watch. It's pretty dope. It must be a nightmare for defenses. Mac Jones, he kept it close. Yeah, you're not going to blow out a Bill Belichick coach team, especially a divisional game. It's just not going to happen. But, I mean, I guess the Bills blew out the Patriots last year in the playoffs or something like that. But, yeah, this one ended up being a one-score game. The final score ended up being 24-17. New Orleans Saints versus Carolina Panthers. The first game of the Monday Night Football doubleheader was an absolute snoozer. It was boring. It was miserable to watch. And if you disagree with me, you're lying to yourself, and you're probably a Saints fan or a Panthers fan. Jesus, it was boring up until midway through the fourth. I mean, come on. This is a Monday night game. This is the slate we get. I get, okay, rookie number 1 overall pick Bryce Young. Let's get him a primetime game. But, jeez, this team is going to be awful this year. They might win 4 games. I have them winning like 3 games now. Oh, my gosh. Yeah, they have no weapons. It is a bad team. The Saints, Derek Carr is the definition of mid. I was talking about mid earlier in the video. Derek Carr is that. If you're to look in the definition of an NFL mid quarterback, it should be a picture of Derek Carr. I can name 15 quarterbacks that are better than him. I probably can't name 16 or 17, but I can name 15 quarterbacks. He is right smack in the middle of that mid category. He's the leader. He's the commander of that. But shout out to the Saints. Their defense, I'm pretty sure is for real. I don't know yet. I still don't trust their opponents that they faced. I mean, they squeaked out a victory versus a 3-win team, even though we all know that the Panthers got that touchdown and that 2-point conversion late. Some would call it garbage time. But yeah, final score of this game ends up being 20-17. Cleveland Browns versus Pittsburgh Steelers. The second game of our Monday night doubleheader. It had some big plays. Nick Chubb, his knee exploded. I hope he gets better. I hope he recovers, of course. I hope he has a speedy recovery is what I should say. I hope this doesn't derail his career. It looked pretty gruesome in the replay. I'm not going to put it in the video. Both quarterbacks, they looked horrible. Did I say that already? Did I say that both quarterbacks looked ass? Because they looked horrible. I mean, Kenny Small Hands Pickett, if it wasn't for that George Pickens long touchdown, I think it was like a 70 or 80 yard touchdown, his stat line would have been awful. It might not have been 70, 80 yards, but it was a long touchdown. If it wasn't for that touchdown, his stat line would have been absolutely garbage. Massage Parlor Watson, he had that interception. He didn't look too good. He didn't look too good last game either. And this is what the Browns get. They gave him all that money. They expected him to turn around, this franchise. and take this team to become a contender. I guess that's what they thought, giving them that much money. And that's what you get for signing an absolute freak. An absolute weirdo. Glory hole, massage parlor, whatever weirdo. That's what they get. They paid them all that money. You have to pay them now because it was guaranteed. But yeah, Pittsburgh. They end up taking this win. The spread was -1.5. I was like, oh, I'm definitely taking the Browns. Like, I think Pittsburgh is ass. But Mike Tomlin coached team. They end up covering and they end up winning the game. Final score, 26-22. If you made it to this point of the video, go ahead and comment your favorite team and what you think the regular season record would be. And if I don't have any comments under this video, I'm going to cry myself to sleep because this takes longer than you think it does. But anyways, thanks for watching.